Sporting Kansas City take on Atlanta United for the first time in both clubs' history at Children's Mercy Park. Who can come out with the win? Who's going to be missing for the game? I'll be talking about that coming up. Nathan Muller, Kansas Sports TV here, the #1 news channel for your Kansas sports news. And we're going to be talking about a match that's never happened before in the history of the histories.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
If that's how you want to say it. Sporting Kansas City take on Atlanta United. And we're going to talk about first the players that are going to be missing for both squads. Now for Sporting Kansas City, the injury list has been very decent. The only major injury that's happened, which was not very costly, was Ike Parr's bicycle knockout that he got from FC Dallas against Rudy in the US Open Cup. But he's back from that, somehow miraculously playing in the last match, so he should be back for this game. So we're only missing Cameron Porter, who at best is probably our third string striker right now, ahead of Sonny Saad in my opinion, but it depends on Peter Vermees' decision. I don't want to see Sonny Saad this rest of the season. But so, Sporting Kansas City coming into this game relatively healthy. Sorry for the interruption, but as I was editing the video, I saw that Gerso Martinez was traveling with the Atlanta United squad, so it might be possible that he is playing, which would change things up, of course, as I say he's injured coming up in this video. And I also say later in the video, I'll point out to you in the Star in Excel that he might not be able to play, but it looks like there's a potential chance he is going to play, or at least come off the bench if he's traveling with the squad. Also, in complete stupidity, apparently, I missed out on 2 injuries. Quane Jones and Alec Khan, former SKC goalie, are both out. Atlanta United, they were going to this relatively healthy. They obviously were missing forward Gerso Martinez and defender Mark Bloom, but they were missing those players before, and they were kind of expecting that. They did lose veteran Greg Garza, their left back, in the MLS All-Star match. Was a big blow for them. Not a massive, but it's a very key player in this squad that's been defending really well for them. And maybe we can look to tack down the right wing if Hoover plays there, which I'm not quite sure about that. I'll get into that later in the video, who will play in that right wing. But Ghram Zusi coming into that right back role again after being away with MLS All-Star team and the Gold Cup squad. Wants to come back into that role at right back as still one of the most prolific right backs in the attacking third. So hopefully he can maybe take advantage of that left back injury with Greg Garza. But otherwise, Atlanta United's pretty relatively healthy. So let's talk about the recent form of both teams as they're going into this first ever matchup in the MLS. Sporting Kansas City came into this match after a 3-2 win against Chicago Fire. I was at the match, great win after selling Dom Dwyer, really proving that it's not just about the players at Sporting Kansas City. Our foundation, our core, our ideals, and the way we play soccer, our tactics with Peter Vermees are all set and solid, and we don't need a dominant striker like Dom Dwyer. We can bring in other players that aren't MLS proven and still win games because our technique, our style of play is just so ingrained into the team that we will pick up wins anyways. So that was a great win to see. Goals from Daniel Shallowy, Benny Felihaber, which is really going to step up now after Dom Dwyer's absence, and Latif Blessing / Diego Rubio. I want to give it a co-goal. We have cool goals in soccer because that was the perfect example of a co-goal in my opinion.
What?
Anyways, that was a win in our last game, but in the 3 previous games we were on a 3-game draw streak and a win before that. So it's been looking relatively amazingly well for Sporting Kansas City in recent form. We have 20 games unbeaten at home, which Atlanta United, coming into Children's Mercy the first time, look to experience that and try to beat the 20-game home non-losing streak and the 11-game, or is it 12, I'll put up in the screen, non-losing streak in all competitions and games in a row, home and away. So Sporting Kansas City coming to this game in great form, a few draws sprinkled here or there. Atlanta United look to take that away from Sporting Kansas City. Can they do it in their first ever match against Sporting Kansas City? Let's talk about their recent form. So the recent form of Atlanta United is pretty decent. They drew their last game against Orlando. They played their two last games in MLS were against Orlando, which is kind of strange. 1-1 draw after Dom Dwyer was transferred there, and 1-0 away at win, and a 1-1 draw at home for Atlanta versus Orlando. And that last game that they played in the 1-1 draw. They got that game-tying goal in the last dying seconds. But before that, they had 2 wins before that second Orlando game. That was a 1-0 win for them, and they lost their previous game. So they're in pretty decent form, not in perfect form. But for an expansion team, I gotta talk about this right now. They're doing incredibly well, drawing incredibly good amount of fans, getting into their new stadium soon with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL. And they're sitting 5th in the Eastern Confrence with 34 points. They have 10 wins, 4 draws, and 7 losses, and a goal differential of plus 13, which is, I gotta give them props, is really good for an expansion team. They're still fine for that playoff spot since the East has been so strong this year, which is really surprising after the West has been so strong in recent years. But the East is looking like the best conference this year, and Atlanta United are looking to make the playoffs in their first year. And personally, I think they will, but we'll see if they can make it. I just got to give them props in this video before I move on of how good for expansion team Atlanta United have done. Looking at But going on, so their recent form obviously was okay, but we're going to go on to talk about the main threats from each team, their leading goal scorers and their leading assisters on both teams. So I'm probably going to mispronounce some of the Atlanta United players because I don't watch them game in, game out. I know how to pronounce their names. I'm going to talk about the Sporting Kansas City leading goal scorers and assisters first. So without Dom Dwyer, he's second on the top goal scorer list with only 5. So Gerso Fernadez with 6, who was suspended in last match, even though we still pulled up with a 3-0-2 win without him and Dom Dwyer. Then Villalba is the next if you don't include Tom Dwyer with 5. He has 4 goals. Latif Blessing next has 3 goals. 2 of them came in one game. And Daniel Shallowy has 2 goals. He's been really good in the few minutes he's got. He's not gotten that many starts, but he scores when he starts, it seems like. And then Ike Parr with 2 and Roger Espinoza with 1. And then we could go on. Diego Rubio with 1. We could keep going. But so, the main threats goal scoring wise are Gerso, Benny, Daniel Shallowy, and if Diego Rubio plays striker, which he probably will in my opinion, he could be one of the main threats, even though he hasn't been prolific on the season, even though he didn't get a second goal that he possibly could have on the weekend, depending on who you want to give the goal to, which it was given to Latif Blessing officially. Now, top assisters for Sporting Kansas City you have to look out for are mainly Felihaber and Ghram Zusi from the fullback spot. Has been amazing attacking wise. He's been a revolution there. He's really learned the spot really well. And Ghram Zusi at fullback is really somebody you have to worry about coming bombing forward from the right back position. And it's going to be something Atlanta United should be worried about with Greg Garza out at left back. We're going to talk about the main threats for Atlanta United now. Probably going to mispronounce some of these names. So Hector Villalba, probably wrong. I'm guessing that's wrong. He has 10 goals in the season. The main man Sporting Kansas City needs to look out for in the defense. Atlanta United is one of the better offensive teams in the league. I believe they're second in offense. Miguel Almiron with 8 goals. I know I mispronounced that in game. Joseph Martinez, who's injured, so we don't have to worry about him, but he has 6 in the season. Then from there, it's a downhill slide to 3 with Julian Gressel. And so there's a bunch of players with 3 and 2. And the one name that sticks out for me, there's a few good players there that I could probably talk about. But the one thing that sticks out to me is that Jacob Peterson has a goal. We just let him go because his contract expired. But it's interesting to see that he scored for Atlanta United this year. It's an interesting note. So those are the top goal scorers. The main man we have to worry about from goal scoring is Miguel Almiron and Hector Villalba, which I know I'm mispronouncing their names. Their top assisters that we have to worry about are Yamal, Asad. So Miguel Almiron's their second leading goal scorer of 8 goals and second leading assister. So we need to really focus on Miguel Almiron. He's going to probably be looking to distribute the ball. He's going to be a center of attack. He's going to be looking to distribute the ball to Hector Villalba or to Yamil Asad or anywhere. He's looking like he's the man that kind of controls the offense based off the stats. Then Julian Gressel and Hector Villalba are other players you have to worry about that have 3 assists apiece. So those are the main threats for Atlanta United in the goal scoring and assisters. So we need to worry about Hector Villalba when it comes to scoring, and Miguel Almiron, and then Miguel American, and Yamil Asad specifically on the assist charts. those are the players we have to worry about. And they have, honestly, a lot better stats and goals and assists than Sporting Kansas City does because they've scored so many more goals in the season. Sporting Kansas City are one of the weaker sides in offense in the MLS. So considering that, we'll talk about Atlanta United's kind of stats going into this game with their great offense and how they play. They have a great offense, not horrible defense, but an okay defense. And Atlanta United against Western Conference opposition have 4 wins, 2 draws, and they have 2.7 goals per game, which is really, really good. The only thing that makes me feel a lot better about that is that Sporting Kansas City have a lot better defense than most of the Western Conference teams. Sporting Kansas City is on top of the Western Conference, so they haven't faced anybody as good from the Western Conference as Sporting Kansas City. And our defense is really good. You can handle that 2.7 goals per game average that they have against the Western Conference so far. And then the main other thing is that they've conceded 28 goals through 21 matches, struggled on defense at times, and they tried to play a high press and build out of the back. That's interesting. I don't know how much they're going to be able to build out of the back against Sporting KC. Necessarily, they might have to play more long balls as Sporting Kansas City looks to control the possession and then fade away a little bit, and they sometimes high pressing, sometimes not. Sporting Kansas City at home will probably dominate the possession. And Sporting Kansas City has about the opposite of almost perfect defense, it seems like at times. We've only given up 2 goals twice in the whole season. Every other game we give up 1 or less. And we have a really lackluster offense that relies on its wingers. So talking about how these two teams play, now that we talked about some individual stats, Sporting Kansas City always likes to play possession, and especially this year we're using our wingers to cut inside and try to get goals or cross the ball into the opposite winger and get goals like that as we're trying to get the ball to the striker. So almost a bigger threat from goal scoring this year, especially with Dom Dwyer gone now, is the wingers Gerso Fernadez, Daniel Shallowy, Latif Blessing, which is going to provide a starting XL headache for Peter Vermees as he decides, does he want to start, who does he want to start in the front 3 of those 4 players, who does he leave out? It's hard for me to decide. I don't know how he's going to do it. But the main way the Sporting Kansas City plays with that possession, using the wingers to get down, having the overlapping fullbacks will come around and help Sporting Kansas City keep possession, look for the ball, look for the cross, look for the through ball. Now, Atlanta United's style so far has been high pressure and playing out through the back, so kind of possessing the ball but not mainly focusing on the ball, just working on passing it from the back. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that as much when Sporting Kansas City is dominating the ball, if they're going to have the time to play it around in the back that much, as Sporting Kansas City will dominate possession most likely at Children's Mercy Park, as they almost always do. The only game I can really remember this year where they have it is against the Portland Timbers, but Sporting Kansas City's really done a great job of implementing the system, possessing the ball, and if you attack Sporting Kansas City, they do seem to wear you down with the wingers. But if you sit back a little bit and try to play long balls, it almost seems to work wonders against Sporting Kansas City and gives you a much better chance to win, as you get the one counter-attacking goal, and Sporting Kansas City struggles to take down a Park the Bus side. So that's how I'd recommend Atlanta United play. But I think they're going to try to play the same way. They'll have probably about 40-45% possession, trying to play the ball throughout the back once they win it, and Sporting Kansas City will try to dominate the possession as they did against Chicago Fire and all the previous teams they have. So that's how the two teams will play. Now talking about where each team is in the standings, Sporting Kansas City has 36 points, first in the Western Conference, 9 wins, 9 draws, 4 losses. Really great job from Sporting Kansas City so far. I would have taken this result so far through 21 games, or 22 games, if you would have given it to me at the beginning of the season. Great job by Sporting Kansas City. Atlanta United, I think, would have taken their spot where they're at right now. If you would have told them they would have been 5th with 34 points and through 21 games, I think they would have taken it. They've been doing a really good job for an expansion team. Still in playoff spots, still looking really good. A win against Sporting Kansas City could technically get them up all the way to 2nd, depending on other results. But they're right in there in the playoff contention. Great job by Atlanta United. Both teams are performing up to expectations or a little bit above. So it'll be interesting based off their standings to see how teams do. Now, looking at the lineup for Atlanta United, I'll talk about it in this video. I'm going to be doing a preferred XL video coming up in an hour or 2 after this video comes out. But anyways, so the starting lineup, I'll put it up on the screen. Obviously, the players we're going to worry about are Villalba, Almiron, and those are some of the main players we're going to have to worry about. Their defense isn't that great. I personally don't rate Brad Guzan. I think Tim Lee is a much better keeper than Brad Guzan. I think he's really slow in reactions in some games. He has his games, which is why he's sometimes got on the U.S. men's national team. But he's so poor most of the time, in my opinion. For the couple games, they'll have exceptional games. So, based off that starting 11, I really think Sporting Kansas City can go and get a result against that, especially. I'll talk about the Sporting Kansas City lineup in the later videos I talked about. It's going to be really interesting also, as a final note, to talk about the VAR system that's being implemented into the game, as it's the first game of VAR. Now, you might have seen in the European Championships where it's been really poor, but supposedly, well, from what I've heard, that they just threw refs in front of the screens for that European Championships. They didn't get no training on how to use it or how to work it, and just expected them to know how to use it. All the MLS VAR referees that are assigned to VAR have been reffing every match as a VAR ref, and they've been reffing every match so far. Just haven't been in the consideration for any calls. They've just been there working on their own thing every MLS match, working on what they would do if it was actually them that had to make a call or make a replay, even though they weren't allowed to, and they weren't actually part of the refereeing in that game. They were still working on their thing, so when it did come time for this game on August 6th, that VAR would be smooth and clean as it can be going into the first games. Obviously, there's going to be hiccups, but it looks like I think VAR is going to be much more smooth than you would have seen in the European Championships. It's looking really good for this coming up. Hopefully, it'll save us some calls, the bad calls that would go for and against you, but hopefully it'll just make the game more fair. Who knows if it will, but we'll see. I think it'll be a lot more smoother since the referees have been training on this for over half the MLS season. It's great that MLS is trying to do this first and trying to make strides to be the first to do things, and I'm really looking forward to the game. I also really want to pick up one of those camo Sporting Kansas City shirts, which I'm looking to do. This has been a great preview. Make sure to check out my preferred XL coming out in an hour or two of what I would do this starting 11. And I still haven't decided who I'm going to put in the front three in the 4-3-3 that Peter Vermes always goes with, and Sporting Kansas City I've always known. I don't know what to do with that, but I can't wait to watch this game. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. Please comment down below if you have any questions or just want anything else to say, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll be making match previews, and I'll be doing match day experience of the game versus Atlanta United coming out after the match, along with my preferred LXL. They'll be coming in an hour or two. So make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can get all that match content for Sporting Kansas City and for more sports, including the Chiefs and Royals and college sports in Kansas. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.